Starr and D'Amico Show brought to you by cheapesttshirts.ca. Men's, women's, children's t-shirts in all sizes. Hoodies too. Aprons, anything for merchandise, cheapesttshirts.ca. Buy today, ship tomorrow. McLean's Pub, 1210 Peel Street, your home away from home for all Montreal Canadiens games and your home for D'Amico and Starr live once a month. Check out their website. Check them out in person, 1210 Peel Street in downtown Montreal. LittleBearOnline.com. Chuck and Evie and they're an amazing staff care about your pet as much as you do. Curbside pickup, local delivery. On St. Catherine across from Westmount Square, LittleBearOnline.com. And by Catherine Prince Realty. Remax Platine certified broker, the best in the business. South Shore, moving to Brossard, moving to Montreal to be closer to the Montreal Canadiens. Check out our website, Catherine with a K, CatherinePrince.ca. Just want a home evaluation? None better than Catherine Prince. Well, this Montreal Canadiens season, Marco D'Amico, has been incredible for a lot of different reasons, right? I mean, the Canadiens picking up points almost every single night, 14 points in their first 10 games. And one of the big players that's responsible for that, and what a turnaround it's been for a guy who had the target on his back, who's in a contract year, who went to go see management in Buffalo to say, hey, guys, how you guys feeling about a contract? Mike Matheson, un vrai gars de chez nous, is having a hell of a season. And to put it into context, right, if we talk about time on ice for Mike Matheson, who, by the way, is the leading player for the Montreal Canadiens at over 24 and a half minutes. He's got 6 points in 10 games. Before we get into Mike Matheson extension talk and what that would look like, what do you make of his 10-game batch here? I mean, a total 180 from a guy last year who was the primary target for a lot of different people, frustrated with his game.
Yeah, I think part of it is he's simplified his game a lot. I think he's, I think if you really pay attention to his game now, he's not being asked to do it all himself when it comes to defending and breakouts and whatnot. He really has kind of found a little bit of confidence in that. Part of that, I believe, is some internal introspection, obviously a contract year. So you gotta step up a sec.
Sure.
The other thing is I just feel the acquisition of Noah Dobson is where you're really kind of feeling, the jive of Mike Matheson. And, we had the opportunity to talk to Noah about this before they went on the road trip. And he's just basically said, he's like, listen, I offer him an outlet. I help, take the pressure off. If he's getting forechecked, I can come in as a passing option. We break out quicker. And it's so much more fluid, right? And I don't think anybody really had a problem with Mike Matheson's game outside of the defensive blunders on the counterattack, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Outside of when he got the puck on his stick and he had to make the first pass or skate it out of the zone. That's when people lost their minds, because sometimes it would go back the other way. Well, we haven't even seen that from Mike Matheson this year. In fact, the only massive error we've seen from that pairing was in the Edmonton game or in the Calgary game, and it was from Noah Dobson, not Mike Matheson, right? So it just goes to show you that pairing has been solid. They've made one egregious mistake in 10 games so far this season. And I think that if you're the Montreal Canadiens, is Mike Matheson worth more to you than on the trade market? I think the answer is he's worth more to them than on the trade market right now.
I agree with that. I mean, I'm not going to go as far as to say he's an untouchable, but he's such an integral piece. I mean, if you look at other teams that are trying to rebuild, right, the importance of having quality NHL veterans that have bought into what you're doing. He's an all situations player. He was an absolute beast. He was tasked with the Connor McDavid assignment into Edmonton last week. And again, he's very much a situational player, right? So when we look at defensemen in kind of like the same age group as Mike Matheson, I think we're looking at like a $7 million per year contract, right? I mean, he got his 8-year deal for Florida at $39 million, and then the Canadiens trade Jeff Petrie and they get him, and now it's time for a renegotiation, right? Like I think about Jake Wallman, I think about Neil Pionk, I think about Brady Shea, Brandon Montour, like all of these guys are in the $7 million. Like Montour's like 7.1 in that category with the Kraken, right? But like, I think that's a digestible number. I think everybody in that world can be happy. Where Matheson gets to stay home, It fits under the salary cap. It fits within the team structure. I don't think you're offending anybody. But I'm like, what do you make of the dollar amount? And what's a comfortable term for a 31-year-old defenseman in Mike Matheson?
Well, I think if you're Mike Matheson, you're going to want term, right? You want as much security as possible. And if you're the Montreal Canadiens, well, you want to keep that a little lower just to be safe, right? So on one end, the Mike Matheson climb probably asked for like six years, bringing to 38, right?
Yeah.
And on the other end, the Canadiens are probably going to be like, well, we're probably more comfortable around 4. And then what generally happens is you kind of meet in the middle, right? Somewhere along those lines. So maybe a 5-year deal. But then you brought up the AAV. I think it'll be. I agree with you. First of all, I think the way he's playing right now in a contract year, I think a team would give him 8. I think a team would easily give him 8.
Well, I'll give him like Neil Pionk, who is 30. He's got 6 years, $7 million. When the season ends, Matheson will be 32 when the season ends.
That was before the shift in contract. Right?
That needs to be said. You're right. Yes,
things have moved. You look at Vladislav Gavrikov, 7 years, $7 million on the open market with the New York Rangers. Right.
Yeah,
that's probably 7 times 8 million. Now, if you were to sign it today, right? So, it's just because the market shifted. But I agree with you. I agree that a fair deal would probably be like 5 years in the $6 to $7 million range.
I thought 7 was cheap, brother. I thought 7 was on the cheaper side too, honestly.
Well, this is what I'm going to say to you, and this is where I think this contract goes.
Yeah.
Mike Matheson flew to Buffalo during the combine to meet with the Canadiens to talk about his future, to reinforce the fact that he wanted to stay with this organization.
Yeah.
1. 2, Mike Matheson has never won anything, right? He's never won a cup. He was on a rebuilding Florida Panthers team. He was on a declining Pittsburgh Penguins team. And then he's part of the Montreal Canadiens. He's at home. He's there for a rebuild. And now the team's about to get good, and you think that this guy is going to go for top dollar?
Yeah.
I personally don't see it. And then number 3, Kent Hughes is a psychological mastermind when it comes to this stuff. You saw it with Lane Hudson. You saw it with Jake Evans. He uses the players' diehard love for the team and the culture of this team and the wanting to be here for this team specifically against them in contract negotiations to get them to buy in, to get them to take a little less. How does Mike Matheson take top dollar when Lane Hudson took less?
Yeah.
And now you start the cycle of taking less and taking less. And they're going to use it against him. Mike doesn't want to leave. I can tell you this right off the bat.
I believe
Mike
that.
Matheson
I believe that.
Does not want to leave. Wants to stay. And power to him. How many local players have come here, gotten the abuse that Matheson has gotten from some fans? We've seen it in the past. Drouin, Brisebois, you name it. Guillaume Latendresse. And then wanted to stay. Very rare. So I take that. There's value in that. And be it from the Anglo community in the West Island or the Franco community in the rest of Quebec, he hits all those points. He's perfect in that regard. And you mentioned it. The Canadiens only have 1 defenseman over the age of 30.
Well, and he's an all situations guy. And again, I'll point out those names.
Look at his offense.
When Pionk got his deal, he was 29. When Montour got his deal, he was 30. Brady Shea was 30 years old. It's skewing more and more maybe that's 7 times 7,
One thing that I will add that makes me, when we're evaluating the player, right, you want to go length and you want to be okay, at what point are we going to see a decline? And at what point does, his skating is so elite that I really don't think that you're going to see that much of a decline into his mid-30s. I think it'll probably be the later end of the 30s, right? Yeah. And again, this isn't to say, objectively, okay? Because we just keep talking about an extension as if it's a done deal, right? Objectively, they can't come to a deal. What does Mike Matheson get you on the market?
Oh, boy.
Right? What would the Canadiens command as a rental?
I mean,
I can't even think. I mean, he's so valuable. I think the Canadiens can get basically whatever they want. I don't think it would be a tough negotiation, to be honest with you. But I mean, I just see that as such an the Canadiens would have to fall off a cliff competitively to at the deadline or the weeks leading up to the deadline for Matheson to be dangled here. I mean, they need him so badly.
Yeah, well, and again, I think they would. I don't think they'd trade him. I think they would just take him as an own rental and see what would happen in the summer. But if you had to trade him, because there's the argument of, do you need to maximize his value? Trade him because he's not worth his contract. So let's have that conversation. What can we expect? So if you're a rental, a top defensive rental, the maximum that a defenseman of that regard has gotten on the market, generally speaking, is a first, a top prospect, and a roster player.
Well, it's funny. I was going to say I want a 2026 first-round pick. Like, let's start there.
That's an automatic. That would be an automatic come deadline, right? So a 2026 first, probably another good prospect that has a 50-50 shot of being a top-of-the-lineup player, and then a roster player to kind of fill in for him while he's gone.
Yeah.
Does that really advance where the Canadiens want to go?
No, it makes no sense. Makes no sense.
You're going to take a massive step back, and then if Caden Gooley is injured, which could happen, then your number two defenseman on the left side, because Hudson's playing on the right, is Jaden Struble or Arbor Jacki, which
yikes.
I apologize. Yes, I apologize, but if you're contending for a playoff spot, that's a big oof. So I'm not kind of sure about that. So this is kind of where we have this conversation, and this is why I enjoy having this conversation, because players of Mike Matheson's ilk in their 30s have more value to their team than they do on the trade market if that team is going up and not down.
Correct.
So this is where I think signing him is of value. The other thing is, if the Canadiens do sign him before September 16th, they have no choice. They have to sign him before July 1st. But if they sign him, if they re-sign him, that could be a front-loaded contract, right? Like Lane Hudson. Front-loaded, signing bonuses, because I believe he did naturalize in the U.S., plus his wife is from Buffalo, so American citizenship is easy. Front-loaded with signing bonuses, so that the last couple of years are very low in salary. Those are all buyout possible, right? Like you have to leave yourself that possibility in the contract structure if you're going to give him the term he wants and the AAV that makes sense. So those are the ways that the Canadiens can play with the cap hit. Also, we talked about signing bonuses, like with Lane Hudson, brought down the AAV because signing bonuses are taxed to a different degree. Same thing applies with the RCA, right? Like his retirement fund makes way more sense than any of the other players that we were talking about, because likely if you sign him to a 6-year deal, that's it. That's his retirement contract. So he's putting all this away because at the end of that contract, he's probably retiring and will be able to pull out from the retirement plan in Canada, right? Because he can claim U.S. citizenship in doing so and probably go live in the States once his career is done. So there are many ways the Canadiens can go about reducing his impact. I am of the ilk that it will be under $7 million, if not $7 million. But I think Ken Hughes is a maniac in these discussions. I think it'll go under 7.
Maniac, and I think just quite simply, I think he's a great salesman. And I don't think it's that hard of a sell. Like, look at the role you play. Look how many minutes. Look at the role you play. You're a leader on this team, on a team that is being spoken about on a national, forget about local, on a national level as, whoa, these guys are a wagon. Look out, here come the Canadiens, and the door is just being opened. Like, there's so many box that gets checked for Ken Hughes. And Mike, you want to be a part of something special? You're an integral part to our success. But let's be honest here. You know, this is where you want to be, Mike.
And he's had places where it just didn't work out, right? And he's also got a really good. He's got a really, it's really comfy here, and you get to play with Dobson, for the love of God.
Yeah, nice.
I mean, I ask Lane Hudson about playing with Dobson all the time. He's like, man, that guy looks so smooth. I'm like, are you jealous?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not going to say anything like that. But, it comes out to the same thing when it comes to Matheson. It's so good. And the team is he's about to be part of something special as the team continues to go up and up and up. So I see it there too. That is going to get used against them. There are so many opportunities. Like the fact that if the Canadiens give him any term, they're going to claw back on AAV guaranteed.
For sure.
Right? 'Cause that's going to be the trade-off. You want security, we want lower. And this is something that's happened. You look at the Brad Marchand contract, that's exactly what it was. We'll give you the years for security, but you got to bring the AAV down to something ridiculous, which is exactly what he did to stay. You look at Matthias Ekholm signing 4x4 in Edmonton, or 3x4. I apologize. I just have to double check, but at $4 million, so that it can bring his value down, despite being on their top pair on a regular basis. He took less so that the team can go out and spend more over the next 2 to 3 years, right? While McDavid also took less. Mm-hmm. So if you have everybody at the top taking less, everybody else is going to take less to win.
6 times 7 works for me. 6 times 7.
6 years times 7 million?
Times 7 million, 42 that's in my mind that with zero experience in any of these things, that's a number that seems digestible, that fits into the mold, and it's clearly not disrespectful to the player. And you get to stay here, and who knows what happens in the next 6 years.
I think if it's 6, you're looking at like a 6.5, in my honest opinion, just because the risk in those 2 last years, 37, 38, I don't necessarily think there's going to be a drop off. But the other thing to keep into consideration that actually works in favor of the way that you're seeing it, Shaun, is the salary cap is going to keep going up.
Well, that's it. Up and up and up. Yeah.
And right now, $7 million is what? High-end second pair money? Right? That's what Gavrikov is signing for. It's what you just mentioned before, like Brady Shea and Brandon Montour. It's like high-end second pair money. In 3 years from now, first of all, that contract would only kick in like next year.
Exactly.
But in 3 years from now, that's like basic second pair of money. In 6 years from now, that's like high-end third pair of money if the salary cap goes up to 150, 160 million. So it's digestible. It's very digestible if it's there. I just know Kent Hughes, and he's going to try to save the $500K just for fun. As some agents have told me in the past, he is the modern-day Lou Lamoriello when it comes to contract negotiations.
And he's getting everybody to fight. Like I said, he's a great salesman, getting everybody to fall in line because they can see the vision. They see it.
And accountant. Right? And accountant.
Yes,
this is my favorite thing of all, most of the agents I've spoken to about post-mortem contract discussions. I'll say he's their best friend, he's their GM, and he's their accountant. Because when they negotiate, he will literally break down the post-tax amount for these players, just to show them the value of his offer. I'm like, man, that is what we call in sales a 360 salesman.
And everyone's got their contracts, including the management team we're speaking of here, including Ken Hughes and Jeff Gordon, right? So Mike Matheson on deck, ready to see that deal get over the line. You can follow Marco D'Amico at MN D'Amico. Read all his latest at RG. And don't forget, he's on with us at 8:05 every Wednesday on TSN 690 as we serve you a hot plate of Habs breakfast every Wednesday at 8:05 with Marco D'Amico. Keep it locked to the channel. We will be here live to react to the Montreal Canadiens and Seattle Kraken with your live presentation as the Canadiens wrap up their 4-game road trip. Already a successful road trip in my mind. Let's see if they can finish it on a high. And we'll see you on Wednesday morning as we recap the Kraken and Canadiens and set the rest of the week up. Marco, thanks as always, brother.
Thank you, guys, and I apologize for how tired I'm going to be on TSN 690 tomorrow.
Let's go.